Hi guys, it's Erica with Not Your Average Life, and today we are starting the long-awaited series about dogs. You guys know that I have 4 dogs. I live in a camper with them. I've had dogs my whole life, really, and a ton of people were asking me to do videos related to dog nutrition, hiking with your dogs, all that stuff. So, this is going to be the beginning of a series that I want to call Understanding Your Dog, and it's going to cover everything from exercising your dog, hiking your dog, dog nutrition, dog grooming, everything in between. And it'll be in chapters. Just a quick disclaimer, I am not a veterinarian, I am not a certified canine nutritionist, and I am not a professional in any means. This is just a compilation of my findings and research over the past, I would say, 10 years. My experiences, my opinions, and a lot of it is facts that you can literally just Google and find yourself. And I'm just going to put it into a format that is easy to listen to, hopefully easy to understand, and we're going to start from tip and go all the way down to tail for dog nutrition especially. So you can just kind of like kick back, relax, cuddle your dog while we talk about this. Not going to be showing anything today, we're just going to be chatting. And you can obviously see... Kane, come here, buddy. Come here. You can see the puppies. You want to come up? Come up, up. I'm trying to get Kane up here so you can see him. Oh, you can see his little snoot. You'll be able to look at the dogs, but otherwise we're just going to kind of talk so you can sit back, relax, and just listen to what we're talking about today. So, this is going to be the introduction to the series that I'm starting, and we're just going to kind of talk about the history of your dog and a little bit of like how your dog works. A lot of people do not know this. People just blindly buy dogs or adopt dogs, and they don't actually understand the biological mechanisms within the dog that are, in essence, very wild still. So let's just start at the very tip of the dog, like I said, and we're going to move down to the tail and kind of talk about how a dog works internally. So we as humans are omnivores, right? We can kind of eat whatever. Our eyes are in the front of our heads, still like a hunter. So we see straight forward. We don't have eyes on the sides of our heads like a prey animal. If you think about it, deer, cow, pig, they all of them have their eyes kind of like on the sides of their skull, and that's so that they have a better range of vision because they are prey animals. So they're able to kind of look around themselves more often or in a wider circumference so that they can see if something is coming to hunt them and kill them. And animals in the kingdom that are specifically hunters tend to have the eyes on the front of the head and they look straight forward. So dogs, cats, humans. All of our eyes are on the very front, and we are meant to look longer distances straight forward at whatever we are trying to kill. So, dogs, there's no exception. Their eyes are on the very front of their head. They have very large and pointy, sharp canine teeth for ripping and shredding. Their incisors and all of their teeth come to a point for shredding, tissue, bone, organ, all of that stuff. And they don't have a jaw that moves side to side. They are not animals that grind their food. They are animals that are meant to shred and rip and then gulp in large pieces. Dogs cannot chew. That is a myth that a dog can chew. They actually physically cannot chew. Chewing is when you have a material in your mouth and you can move your mouth up and down, your mandible up and down, and side to side as well to grind food like a cow or a pig or a human. We can kind of like grind food with our flat molars and process any type of food. A dog, their teeth are kind of shaped like a triangle, and their jaws are like a snap trap. They only move up and down and very quickly. Dogs are not meant to chew. They're meant to gulp large amounts of food very quickly and break down bones and organs and stuff and tissue. So, with all of that being said, a dog is very much an animal that is meant to eat predominantly meat. There is no such thing as a dog that should be on a vegetarian diet, in my opinion. They are very much set up to eat meat, bone, and organ, and a very small amount of fibrous material, right? Now, on top of everything that we just covered, a dog does not produce salivary amylase. So the three main digestive enzymes in animals are protease, lipase, and amylase. Protease is the digestive enzyme that breaks down protein. Lipase breaks down fats, and amylase breaks down carbohydrates. So a dog does not produce salivary amylase like a human. So with humans, our saliva has amylase in it, and it immediately, the moment we start eating anything, we do have that salivary amylase to start breaking down carbohydrates. And as it moves through our system, we continuously have amylase being produced in multiple areas, including our pancreas, to break down carbohydrates. Dogs don't naturally have salivary amylase at all. So that shows us that they really aren't meant to eat large amounts of carbs. Now, on the flip side of that, their pancreas can and will produce amylase. So their pancreas will kick into gear once carbohydrates are in the system, and their pancreas will produce the amylase to break down carbohydrates and plant matter, essentially, to digest and fully move it through the system. But, again, right at the beginning of where they're getting food, their mouth, salivary amylase does not exist. So that tells us, biologically speaking, that dogs aren't necessarily meant to eat a large amount of plant materials. So as they move through the system, their pancreas can and will produce amylase to break down plant matter, but they very much have protease and lipase to break down fats and proteins, and that's predominantly what a healthy dog's diet should be. Also, sick dogs really should be on a biologically appropriate diet, but we can get into that whole thing later. We're really talking about like a normal, average, healthy dog, right? So they also have a very, very short digestive tract. Now that is because dogs, just like wolves and coyotes and foxes, they're all very much set up to eat rotting animals, things that have been dead for a few days, roadkill. They're scavengers, right? Most of you know, if you have a dog, that if you dropped a piece of food on the floor, they're scuttling over to try and get it, right? They are opportunists. They are scavengers, and they will eat kind of anything that comes their way if they are healthy and normal, right? Obviously, you can train a dog to not do that, but we're just talking about your plain old dog. So, they can eat really anything and not get sick. Dead birds, roadkill, anything. Their stomach acid is very much set up to digest anything that is thrown at it, and they have a very short digestive tract because their bodies are set up to move food through quickly. That is the most important thing for a dog. They're eating such a large amount of bacteria in the wild that their digestive system has to be very short. That way there is not food lingering in the digestive system with bacteria to make the dog sick. So a dog can eat a meal and be pooping like 4 to 6 hours later, like ready to go. The food does not sit and digest for a long time. Their body just pushes it right out as quick as possible. And then obviously there are so many things about a dog that show that they are a true carnivore. They have claws, even their gait. They are animals that are meant to move quickly. They have, claws on their feet to move over all types of terrain. They're machines, and they are athletes, and they are meant to hunt and consume. So with that being said, dogs are very much animals that should be on a meat-based diet. Now, when I say meat-based, I am including bone and organ. When you feed a raw food diet, you cannot do it unless you have meat, bone, and organ. The main design that we go by in the raw feeding community is 80% meat, 10% bone, and 10% organ. That last 10% of organ is broken up into 5% liver and 5% other secreting organ, like kidney or something. A heart is technically considered just a meat. It's just a muscle meat. It doesn't technically secrete anything. But basically, we do 80-10-10. Now, there are definitely different ways to feed raw food. There are recipes and manufacturers that add fibrous plant matter into the meals. There's something called PMR, which is a prey model raw or prey model diet, which is way more geared toward what your dog would eat if it were wild. So like a whole bird with the bones and organs already in it. There are companies that make ground up prey model diets. So they literally just take like a whole bird, grind it up, and it has like the feathers and everything in it. But basically speaking, for the most part, us like typical normal raw feeders follow the 80-10-10 diet, and that is very much appropriate for any normal healthy dog. So my dogs eat the 80-10-10 diet. Now, granted, I will say we do alternate some recipes that have vegetables in them. There are infinite amounts of studies and sciences that show that you can improve your dog's longevity up to 90% by feeding raw, organic, fresh plant matter, vegetables, and fruits. That is something that we will get into later in the series, but it is very much proven that some fresh meats, bones, organs, and fresh fruits and veggies can really help your dog improve their life by an incredible amount. If you're looking for more scientific resources on that, Dr. Karen Becker has an entire series on that is very educational. There's also a book that her and Rodney Habib wrote together. It's called The Forever Dog, #1 bestseller book in America and really in the world. It is just completely famous. Incredible resource to kind of get your foot into the door with raw feeding. But yes, Dr. Karen Becker has really driven home the importance of integrating small amounts of raw, fresh fruits and veggies into your dog's diet. Your dog definitely can benefit from that. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed your dog liking to eat like little blueberries and stuff, or grass. They have evolved over the years to definitely benefit from plant matter. They can eat fibrous fruits and veggies, and it can be really good for them. It really just depends on what you like to feed your dog and what you believe in. Do they need fruits and vegetables? No. A lot of people believe in the prey model diet, which does not include fruits and veggies, but there have been, like I said, many studies that show the improvisions of including those in your dog's diet. So I definitely feed raw fruits and veggies very often. Basically every other day I am putting raw zucchini, raw apples, tomato, all of the appropriate fruits and veggies into my dog's diet. There is a chart that exists that shows what you should not feed your dog. We all know large amounts of garlic, I believe macadamia nuts. It's either macadamia or Brazil because they have too much like selenium or something in them. We know that grapes are toxic. There are very few things that are bad for your dog, but there is a chart that shows what you should not feed your dog. But my dogs definitely eat a small amount of raw fruits and veggies like every other day. I've noticed significant moves forward with them eating those. It's also a great way to fill up your dog if you have a very hungry dog. It's a great kind of like space filler to give them some fruits and veggies to help fill them up without adding fat and bad carbs or anything. I have a dog, Kane, my black dog, who he can eat 5 pounds a day and still be underweight. And no, he does not have worms. No, he does not have parasites. No, he does not have anything. He just is active for 6 hours a day. And he is a German Shepherd cattle dog plot mix who is a literal machine. He is built to work. So he is just completely active and burns through many, many, many calories. So using vegetables and fruits with him are great because it helps fill him up and he just needs that extra food. But yes, so from tip to tail, your dog is very much a carnivore, a hunter, an athlete. So, you know, ways to kind of improve your dog's life would definitely be adequate exercise, adequate diet, and mentally stimulating them in a sense that would kind of replicate what they would do in the wild. Because if you think about it, dogs have only been domesticated for like a finger snap of time in comparison to the recorded database of the dog's existence that we have. We have found records of dogs kind of working side by side with humans really pretty recently. This is not something... They very much kind of like became domesticated overnight in the grand scheme of things. So, they are very much still like their wolf relatives. And we have documented wolves being around campsites for a long time, but when they actually started to get domesticated, that is a very short period of time in the grand scheme of things, so they are very much still wild at heart, especially biologically speaking and with their digestive system. So, as a good pet owner, as a loving and caring and educated pet guardian, it is our job to try to replicate what they would need in the wild as best as possible if we want to make our dogs happy, right? So as you can see, every single one of my dogs right now is passed out. They're all very tired, and it's only 9 o'clock in the morning. Where's my last one? There she is. She's on the bed back there. They're tired, they're happy, they're quiet for now, knock on wood, because I have given them for the morning what they needed. What did they need? They needed time to move around in the yard and free play with each other this morning. And then they had a biologically appropriate breakfast that had a small amount of fruits and veggies and predominantly meat and bone and organ. And then they went on a long hike through the woods, and we're going to do it all over again before I go to work, and we're going to have an hour of yard playtime again. And they also do puzzle toys. I like to take Kongs, stuff them with frozen food. Well, it's not frozen at the time. Stuff them with food, put a bully stick in the middle of it, and then freeze it, and that takes them a good 45 minutes to an hour to finish. So, lots of stimulation for their brain to make them feel like they are hunting or earning their food, essentially. Working for their food, right? They get to go out in the woods like a dog would and, run around and hike through the woods and really work their bodies and wear themselves out. Obviously, we do training too. And then that makes them nice and happy and quiet and relaxed inside and well-behaved because they don't have all that pent-up energy. So we really try to replicate kind of what they would be doing in the wild and try to give them everything that they need biologically to be happy, healthy, and well-behaved. So I encourage you guys to research raw food diets. This is not something that you can just decide to do. You have to do your research. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to do your research and understand how your dog works and understand what food you're buying before you jump into it, because some dogs, yes, can transition cold turkey to raw food diets. Some dogs have very sensitive stomachs because they're so used to being on kibble, and it would just give them severe diarrhea or vomiting or, what have you. You have to do your research. I would highly recommend watching Dr. Karen Becker's videos. There's also a Raw Feeding 101 channel. I know that guy, Dan. Really cool guy, very educated, and he has a bunch of great videos. But definitely, do your research first if you are interested in raw feeding your dog. The benefits of raw feeding your dog are endless. Cleaner teeth, no bad breath, healthier coat, shiny, healthy, no shedding, tiny poops only once or twice a day, way better behavior. Everything about your dog will improve on a raw food diet. You just have to do it correctly. Like I said, I have researched for 10 years and I will never stop researching. I have been feeding raw for, almost 10 years. I have raised 7 puppies from 8 weeks old on a raw food diet. All of them cold turkey transitioned and did just fine, but I really know what I'm doing at this point. Every single one of my dogs that you see in this camper were transitioned to raw food the moment they got home from the rescue. I had 3 other dogs that I also transitioned onto raw from the moment they got home. 2 were from breeders, 1 was rescued as well. But I've always fed raw. From the moment I realized how important it was and how terrible kibble is, which we are going to cover probably in the next video. But yeah, been raw feeding for a very, very long time, been researching for a very long time. Every book, every video, every podcast that you can think of about raw feeding, I have watched, listened to, read. I am very, very passionate about it. So I encourage you, on the flip side of this camera, to do your research. You do not have to jump right into raw. There are plenty of freeze-dried options, dehydrated options, that you can also purchase from even like Chewy.com that are way better than kibble, but they don't have the emphasis on education that raw food does, right? So you can buy like Honest Kitchen or Sojo's, for example, which is a dehydrated or freeze-dried raw. All you do is add water and it's completely balanced for you. There is no guesswork. It's very much as healthy as raw food. And it will improve your dog's life greatly, and it just takes away the pressure of messing something up. You can very much do that forever, or while you're transitioning and learning and educating yourself on raw food. Freeze-dried and dehydrated can and will be your friend. It is convenient, it is easy, it is correct, you cannot go wrong with it, so keep that in mind. But hopefully this has at least got you thinking about raw food, how your dog works, how they are set up. I hope that it was informational for you. This, like I said, is just an introduction into the series I'll be doing on my channel, and we are going to really deep dive into so many aspects of raw feeding and nutrition and exercising your dog and bonding with your dog. We're going to go into that in so much depth, but this is really just an introduction and to try to lure you into being curious about raw feeding for your dog. So with that being said, we're going to close out this video. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I appreciate it so much. This is something I'm really passionate about and really excited to share with you guys. So yeah, the pack says goodbye. Oh my god, look at Kovu. That is hilarious. They say goodbye, I say goodbye. Thank you for watching. We all love you so much. Go live your life, feed your dog correctly, exercise your dog, and I will see you guys on the next video. Love you all.